So in the last video I did, I presented a strategy that anybody could follow to get as strong as fucking possible in the shortest period of time for whatever lift they want to get better at, except the Olympic lifts, because due to the nature of those lifts, a lot of the methods and types of contractions included in this strategy cannot be performed for those lifts. So this is mostly for people that want to get stronger at a bench press variation or a squat variation or even a deadlift variation for the most part. Now, not all of the methods and types of contractions are going to be practical for the deadlift, so you just scale it up or scale it down to whatever's going to work for you if you want to get better at that lift. So once you've picked a lift, then you can move forward with this strategy. What I'm going to do now is take you through each of the days in the strategy to give you an idea of what the workouts would look like should you want to practically apply this information. So day one was the overload day. The purpose here is to develop eccentric strength and desensitize the sensory organs that limit your capacity to showcase your strength. The workouts are very, very simple. 3 to 4 eccentric reps and 15 to 25 partials using 10% more than you could lift through a full range of motion. So the eccentrics are done one at a time. Unless you have a spotter who can help you lift the weight, you're going to need a power rack so that you lower the bar to the bottom of the range of motion. The pins in the power rack will save you. You get out, take the weights off, put the bar back up onto the J-hooks, unhook them, and then do the next eccentric rep. So that's how those are going to be done. The partials can also be done in the power rack, but you don't actually need them for the partials. You can use subjective assessment to kind of gauge whether or not you're going through the appropriate range of motion, but a power rack makes it easier. Just lower onto the pins, you set them so that you're only doing the top half of the range of motion. The sets and reps doesn't really matter. Just do 15 to 25. If you do 3 sets of 5, 5 sets of 3, 5 sets of 5, 8 sets of 3, whatever the fuck it is, doesn't really matter. Just aim to perform a certain amount of high quality work. Now what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using 10% more than you could lift through a full range of motion. You want to use weights that exceed your current lifting capacity, and 10% is ideal. That's the amount of strength you want to gain when following a strength building program or strategy in the first place. Now the workouts itself, you could do all the eccentrics first, all the partials first, or you could do a contrast type of method where you do one eccentric, bunch of partials, one eccentric, bunch of partials until all your work is done. You could do almost all the eccentrics, then all the partials, and finish with an eccentric, or vice versa. The options are really limitless. You get to pick what you want. That's the best thing about having a strategy like this, is you have the free will to do whatever the fuck you want as long as you adhere to some certain guidelines and parameters, and they're all there for you. Now, depending on when you're going to do day 2 of the strategy, if you're going to do it the next day, that's the workout. You go home. If the next day is an off day because you have to work or there's some sort of social obligation that you have to attend, then you have the option of adding one additional isolation exercise to stimulate the development of whatever muscle is a perceived weak link in the chain. So if your chest is weak for your bench press, you can do one isolation exercise following metabolic stress parameters. If your quads are weak in your squat, same deal. Metabolic stress parameters, lots of reps, slow reps, minimal rest, not going to failure, not overworking your capacity to recover. If the next day you're going to do day 2 of the strategy, then leave that out and do that a day before you're going to take a day off, if you're going to do that at all. So that's what day 1 looks like. You like the information, share it. Click the fucking button at the bottom, subscribe to the channel, and next up is day 2.